Your boss just lied to your face, and they're going to do it again tomorrow. Not because they forgot, because they know something you don't. They know you won't call them on it. In the next 10 minutes, I'm showing you the 5 moves they use to gaslight you into compliance and the exact counter move that makes them stop. There's a specific kind of exhaustion that follows you out of these conversations. It's not the exhaustion of a hard day, it's the exhaustion of not knowing what's real anymore. Did I actually say that? Am I imagining the pattern I think I'm seeing? That kind of questioning doesn't come from nowhere. It's the result of something with a name, a documented mechanism, and 5 predictable moves. The name is workplace gaslighting. The reason most people don't catch it in real time isn't because they're not smart enough. It's because it's designed to be invisible. It looks like a miscommunication. It looks like a manager who just has high standards. It looks like someone trying to help you improve until the pattern becomes undeniable. And by then, months or years of self-doubt have already done their damage. By the time you finish this video, you'll have the vocabulary to see it clearly. And seeing it clearly is how it stops working. Gaslighting, in a clinical sense, is psychological manipulation designed to make you question your own perception, memory, and judgment. A gaslighting boss doesn't need to be a villain. Some genuinely believe they're being reasonable. What makes it consistent, across different managers, different industries, different company cultures, is that the same 5 moves appear again and again. Not because gaslighters read from the same handbook, because these 5 moves work, and things that work get repeated. Here they are. The first move is called the rewrite. You're in a meeting, your manager gives you a clear directive, a specific deliverable, a specific deadline. You take notes, you deliver exactly what was asked, and then, sometimes days later, sometimes weeks, your manager references that conversation with a version of events you don't recognize. That's not what I said. I thought we agreed on something different. You must have misunderstood. The first time, you assume it's a memory issue. The second time, you start carrying a notebook into every meeting, just in case. By the third time, something has shifted internally. You no longer trust your recollection of what was said in any conversation with this person. That internal shift is the goal. The rewrite isn't about the specific incident, it's about dismantling your confidence in your own perception so that your account of events stops carrying weight. Researchers call this reality distortion, a sustained pattern of reframing events to eliminate accountability. It works most effectively on people who are conscientious, people who genuinely want to be fair. Those are the exact qualities the rewrite exploits. What you do about it: you create a paper trail, not as a legal strategy, but as a memory prosthetic. After any important conversation, you send a brief email confirmation, not accusatory, just factual, confirming we agreed on X, deadline Y. Let me know if I've missed anything. If your boss attempts a rewrite later, you have a timestamped record created in real time, not in retrospect. The rewrite depends on ambiguity. Documentation eliminates ambiguity. The second move is called the minimizer. And it's often more damaging than the first because it doesn't attack your memory, it attacks your character. You go to your manager with a legitimate concern, and your manager responds not with hostility, but with something that sounds almost like concern. I hear you, but I think you might be reading into this a bit. Everyone deals with pressure like this. It's part of the role. You might want to think about whether you're taking this too personally. There's nothing obviously hostile about any of those responses. That's what makes the minimizer so effective. It doesn't say your concern is wrong. It says your capacity to assess your own experience is the problem. Over time, you stop bringing things up, not because things stop happening, because the cost of raising them has become higher than the cost of absorbing them. You've been trained gradually to treat your own perception as unreliable. And here's the part that makes it so durable. Nobody ever told you to stay quiet. You arrived at it yourself, which means it doesn't feel like something that was done to you. It feels like a conclusion you reached. The counter is a specific reframe. When you feel the instinct to defend the legitimacy of your emotional response, don't. Instead, pivot to concrete impact. Here's the specific effect it's had on my output this week. Numbers, deadlines, tangible results. You have just removed the emotional variable from the equation. That's a much harder conversation to minimize. The third move is called the witness erasure, and it attacks your sense of shared reality. Something happens in a meeting, a group conversation. You make a contribution that lands, or you witness something that clearly wasn't acceptable. Later, when you reference it, you hear, "I don't think anyone else interpreted it that way. I've checked in with the rest of the team. They don't share your concern." Your boss has invoked the social consensus, implied or manufactured, to make your account seem not just inaccurate, but uniquely inaccurate. But here's what that claim almost always conceals. Those other people were probably never asked. The consensus is invented. It's social proof as a weapon, used to isolate you from any potential coalition. If you believe you are the only one who sees it, you'll never compare notes with a colleague. You'll never discover that 3 other people had the same experience and said nothing. The antidote is simple but requires courage. Have the quiet conversations, not complaints, just genuine check-ins with colleagues you trust. More often than not, you will discover the loneliness was manufactured. And once you discover that, the witness erasure stops working because it depends entirely on you believing you're the only one. The fourth move is called the moving goalpost. And on the surface, it doesn't look like manipulation, it looks like changing priorities. But when it happens consistently and specifically with you, it becomes a structural trap. You deliver exactly what was asked, and instead of acknowledgement, the standard moves. This is good, but I was actually thinking something more like, what I really needed was something that went further than this. By the fifth time, you've internalized a belief that you're just not quite able to get it right. That belief is the product. A moving goalpost makes success structurally impossible. There's always a reason it wasn't quite enough. Psychologists call the mechanism behind this intermittent reinforcement the same cognitive principle that makes gambling addictive. A consistent achiever under a moving goalpost will frequently outwork their peers, simply because the standard keeps moving and they keep chasing it. This is not an accident. It's a management outcome, and it's one of the hardest moves to point to because each individual instance looks reasonable on its own. Priorities do shift. Context does change. It's only when you zoom out and look at 6 months or a year of these moments stacked one after another that the pattern becomes visible. The counter is to write the goalpost into the ground before the project begins. Can you help me define what a successful outcome looks like specifically? If they resist specificity, that resistance is data. The fifth move is the most sophisticated on the list. Unlike the previous 4, it doesn't feel like a threat. It feels like someone on your side. This is the concern mask. I'm only telling you this because I want you to succeed here. I've been hearing some concerns from people on the team. I'm not sure you're quite ready for the next level yet. These statements position the person delivering the blow as an allied. The concern mask wraps a threat in the language of mentorship and care, and the result is psychologically unusual. You feel grateful. You leave the conversation not with the clarity that something was done to you, but with the unsettling feeling that you need to do better. Here's what the concern mask actually does. It makes you complicit in your own undermining. When the same information is delivered wrapped in concern, the implicit message is, be grateful for this. Gratitude shuts down resistance. Notice what's missing from every concern mask statement. Specifics. The people who have concerns are unnamed. It's designed this way. Specific claims can be refuted. Vague concern is unfalsifiable. The next time you hear a concern mask statement, don't absorb it. Ask immediately, which people? What specific behavior did they observe? Can we document it? A manager who has legitimate concerns will articulate them. A manager deploying a concern mask will become suddenly vague, suddenly busy, suddenly uncertain whether they should have said anything at all. That response tells you everything. 5 moves. The rewrite, the minimizer, the witness erasure, the moving goalpost, the concern mask. If you recognize yourself in what you just heard, I want you to sit with that recognition for a moment, because what you've been carrying isn't what you thought it was. The self-doubt, the second guessing, the low-level certainty that you're somehow not quite good enough at a job you used to feel confident in. That's not evidence of your limitations. That's evidence that these mechanisms were used on you consistently over a long enough period that they started to feel like your own thoughts. They're not. The exhaustion you feel after conversations with this person is a symptom, and now you have the name for what's causing it. Naming it doesn't fix it overnight, but it changes something fundamental. The confusion stops working. It was built to operate in the dark. In the light, it's just a pattern, and patterns can be interrupted. The next time one of these moves happens to you, you won't spend the rest of the day replaying the conversation, looking for what you did wrong. You'll recognize the shape of it, and recognition is where the power shifts back to you. You're not too sensitive. You're not misremembering. You're not the problem. You're just finally seeing it clearly. The next video covers what happens when you go to HR and HR doesn't act. That's linked on screen. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing it clearly.